I'm going to remarry the rich doctor. You, an old woman, should raise twins.
Nancy laughed at me mockingly when she said that. The man standing next to her also had a sneering grin on his face. There's no way I could leave the two adorable kids with such people. Are you sure about this? I'd be happy to. If they'll let me, I'd be more than happy to take care of them. Thinking this, I responded with a smile. But please never show your face to me and children again.
Yes, that's fine. I'm not interested in my kids.
Nancy went out laughing. As I glared at her back, that winds ran up to me.
Can we stay here?
Yes, of course. Let's live with Grandma from today on.
Yeah. We want to live with Grandma.
It's unbelievable that anyone wouldn't want such adorable twins. Hugging them, I vowed to make them happy. Then, in the blink of an eye, 15 years passed. Living a peaceful, retired life, that person came to see me again.
Hey, give me my twins back.
I am Susan Johnson, a 60-year-old housewife working in a factory. I have a son, Michael, and a husband who passed away a few years ago. My husband's family has been running the factory for generations, and that's where we met. When I was working diligently, he approached me and we fell in love very quickly. After dating for a few years, we got married. Then I gave birth to Michael.
My dream is to take over Dad's factory when I grow up. So, I want to learn everything I can.
Michael said he inherited my husband's kindness and my earnestness, and I think he grew up to be a wonderful kid. Having been around the factory since he was young, Michael was well liked by everyone there.
After I graduate from high school, I want to work at the factory.
What are you saying? Michael respected everyone at the factory and even wanted to start working right after high school. However, our factory is large and has contracts with many major companies, so we're doing well financially. And Michael is smart enough to aim for a top university. As his parents, we hoped he would go to university. We really think you should go to university, given the chance.
No, I want to start working at the factory as soon as possible.
No matter how much we tried to persuade him, Michael was steadfast. It was quite troubling. Then, someone else convinced Michael.
You should go to university, Michael.
It was John Miller, who started working at our factory right after graduating from high school. He was close in age to Michael, and they spent a lot of time together.
Learn what I couldn't teach you. Make this factory even bigger, and make its name known worldwide.
John's words had an impact, and Michael listened. And then, he successfully went on to university. Michael, having studied business in university, used his knowledge to secure new contracts and further expand the factory's success. We believed we could continue to live happily, managing the factory together. We believed so, but just then, my husband fell ill suddenly. He collapsed at the factory and never regained consciousness, passing away shortly after.
From now on, I'll protect both the factory and Mom.
While everyone was engulfed in sadness, Michael, who had grown up, supported me and managed the factory well. Now, Michael is married and the father of twin girls, Maria and Millie.
Hello, Grandma. Grandma, we're here to see you.
You both made it. Good to see you. Take your time and relax. The twins were very lovely. Maria, the older sister, was serious, while Millie, the younger, was kind. They both adored me and hugged me whenever they visited me. I love these twins so much that I no longer felt the sadness of losing my husband.
When are you going to stop working, Mom?
I plan to work as long as I can. I don't want to be a burden to you in the future. Therefore, I was working in the factory. Thanks to that, I've been living fulfilling days. Taking it easy once in a while is good, too. On a day off. Today I had a day off from the factory and was about to do some reading after a long time. Who could that be? Suddenly, the intercom rang. No visitors were scheduled, so I puzzled and checked on the camera. What? Maria, Millie? It was the twins. Surprised, I quickly opened the front door and welcomed them in. What's the matter, you two? Where's your mom? Looking around, I saw no adults. Could it be that these 5-year-olds came here by themselves?
Mom said to go to Grandma's house today. She's too busy to look after us today.
Hearing the details, it seems their mother, Nancy, told them to come to my house and locked them out. It was snowing since the morning and very cold outside. No matter how far you can walk, let only children walk the streets. Were you cold? I'll make some warm cocoa for you.
Yay! We love cocoa. Thank you, Grandma.
As I served the twins warm drinks, I tried calling Nancy. However, there was no sign of her answering. So, I decided to contact Michael.
What? Maria and Millie are there.
Michael immediately answered the phone, sounding very surprised. He had been on a business trip since last week and was not home. He was due back today, but even if he hurried, he wouldn't arrive until the evening.
I wish I could rush over right now, but it seems impossible from where I am on a business trip. I'm sorry, but could you look after them until I get there?
Yes, of course. I immediately agreed to Michael's request, feeling sorry. I had no plans for the day anyway. Having the day turn into one spent with the adorable twins was actually a delight for me.
Thank you. I'll talk to Nancy myself.
Michael said before hanging up. Feeling the twins' eyes on me, I turned to see them looking somewhat anxious. Let's play together until your dad arrives. Can you tell me what games you like?
Yay! We're so happy to play with you. We want to play games.
For a while, we played games together. Then, Michael called me.
It seems like the phone is turned off, and I can't get in touch with Nancy either.
That's okay. I'll take good care of the twins, so don't rush and take your time getting here.
That really helps. Thanks, Mom.
After ending the call with Michael, I sighed. What could Nancy be up to? At times like this, it would be good to contact her family, but according to Michael, she seems to be estranged from her own family. So, they rarely communicate. It seems unlikely that her family would know anything. Hey, what does your mom usually do? Haven't you heard anything? Not knowing what else to do, I asked the twins.
Mom isn't interested in us. She has someone more important than us.
These words gave me a bad feeling. Could she be having an affair? Maybe it's time to investigate. While considering this, I made sure to keep the twins from feeling anxious.
Thank you for waiting, and for looking after them.
Yay, Dad? Daddy, welcome back.
A few hours later, Michael arrived. Seeing their father, the twins ran to him joyfully. I was comforted by their happy faces, and greeted Michael, who looked tired. Did you manage to contact Nancy?
No, not yet. Actually, I'm thinking about the future.
Michael said, seeming deeply concerned.
Depending on Nancy's response, I might need to take the twins and move back home.
You're welcome to come back anytime. I readily agreed to Michael's words. This seemed to ease Michael's expression a bit. Yet, I felt anger towards Nancy for putting him through this. Then, several hours later, as it had gotten completely dark, the doorbell rang.
Well, I've come to pick up my twins.
There was Nancy. I was irritated at her troublesome attitude. Before I could react, an angry Michael confronted her. Nancy, what have you been doing all this time? Clearly, she hadn't expected Michael to be there, her eyes widening in surprise.
Why is Michael here?
Just answer my question.
I was called out by some mom friends and was meeting with them.
Nancy responded reluctantly under Michael's questioning.
Then why didn't you contact us?
My phone battery died.
Nancy dodged Michael's probing with evasive excuses. Michael sighed deeply at her responses.
Sorry for the trouble. Let's go home.
Michael apologized to me and took the unhappy twins back home. The next day, oh, how unusual. I was a bit surprised when I received a call from Nancy and answered the phone.
Listen, Susan, because of your unnecessary meddling, Michael scolded me.
What?
If you had just silently taken care of the twins, there would have been no problem.
Nancy complained without letting me get a word in. I was momentarily taken aback, but then responded. First of all, isn't it your fault for locking out the twins? And at least give me a heads up next time. It was good that I happened to be home this time, but if I had plans and was out, those kids could have been freezing under the cold sky.
What are you talking back to me? This is why I can't stand old women.
Nancy retorted and hung up the phone. What is she thinking? I sighed, frustrated with Nancy's attitude. Then the phone rang again, and it was John's name on the display.
I went on a trip and wanted to give you a souvenir. Do you have time later?
That's lovely. I have time, so please come over whenever. John has always been fond of me, like his mother. He started working at our factory after his parents died in a car accident when he was in high school. Since his parents were my colleagues, I've been looking out for him. It seems Michael also cares for John like his brother.
May I come in? Susan, what's wrong? You look tired.
John asked me anxiously when he came to my house. Yes, a little. Would you mind listening to my story?
Of course.
So, I ended up venting to John. He listened and nodded along appropriately.
That's concerning.
John, after listening, murmured thoughtfully.
I know a detective. I can ask if they can look into it for you.
Really, that would be so helpful.
For me, Susan, you're like my mother, and Michael is like my brother. The twins are like my nieces. I'd do anything for such important family members.
His reassuring smile made me feel confident. A few days after that,
Mom, could you look after the twins this Saturday?
I was asked by Michael to take care of the twins. Despite the tension in his voice, I agreed to his request. Then, on the day, Michael, who looked like he had made a decision, and the twins, who looked sleepy in the early morning, came to my house. What's going on, Michael? Is something wrong? I couldn't help but ask Michael that question.
I'll tell you when I get back. Be good girls, okay?
Michael smiled at the twins and then left. We watched him go until he was out of sight, believing he would return that day.
Daddy has gone. Will he come back soon?
Yes, he'll be back soon. However, Michael never returned to this house again. What? No, that can't be true. Are you sure it was Michael? Michael had an accident at a tourist site and tragically never returned. The following period was incredibly difficult. Please, say it's not true.
Daddy, Daddy. Wake up, Daddy.
After losing my son and losing their father, I and the twins cried and clung to Michael's cold body.
Why? Leaving behind such lovely daughters. It's too soon.
John supported us through this time and helped with all the arrangements. The factory staff rushed over immediately, comforting our family, but
what is she doing? Her husband has just died.
amidst this, Nancy was nowhere to be seen. Even after the funeral, she made no contact and disappeared. Maybe it's better she's not here. I felt indignation at her actions. But without her around, at least I wouldn't have to deal with her disrespectful behavior. While thinking this, I cared for the crying twins, unable to recover. Who could that be? Just when things had finally calmed down a bit, the intercom rang, and I checked the camera, and it was Nancy. Nancy, where have you been all this?
Oh, hi there. Long time no see.
Angered, I opened the door to find Nancy and a flashy dressed man standing there. That's when I realized my bad feeling was right, and my anger turned to cold calmness. What do you want now, and how dare you show your face here?
Well, scary. Oh, this is my boyfriend. He's a doctor and rich.
She didn't mind my cold attitude at all. Nancy boasted about the man with her, smirking in a vulgar manner. Were you cheating on Michael?
It's not cheating. He's the one I really love.
Nancy said, laughing with the man beside her.
So, I have a favor to ask of you, Susan.
What is it?
The twins are in the way of my remarriage, so I don't need them. Can you take them in?
I was furious at her words. What did she just say? Did she say she doesn't want her daughters? I fell silent in an instant. And she went on to say to me,
I'm going to remarry the rich doctor. You, an old woman, should raise twins.
Nancy laughed at me mockingly when she said that. The man next to her also smirked and pleasantly. I couldn't possibly leave the two adorable children with such people. Are you sure? I'd be delighted. If I can take care of them, I'd gladly do so. Thinking this, I responded with a smile. But please, never show your face to me and children again.
Fine by me. I'm not interested in my kids.
Nancy went out laughing. As I glared at her back, the twins ran to me.
Can we stay here?
Yes, of course. Let's start living with Grandma from today.
Yeah. We want to live with Grandma.
It's unimaginable that such adorable twins are unwanted. Hugging them tightly, I vowed to make them happy.
Grandma, we'll come back home early today.
We'll make dinner, so just wait for us.
All right, I'll be waiting. Then, in what seemed like the blink of an eye, 15 years passed. Having retired, I would see off the twins as they energetically set off. We had completely recovered from our past sorrows and were living a normal life. So, what shall we do today? Living such a peaceful, retired life, I was visited by someone. Now an elderly lady, I was spending my days leisurely. The doorbell rang loudly. Who could it be?
Open up. You have the two of them inside, right?
When I asked a visitor through the camera, the person yelled without answering. Seemed like a woman, but unfamiliar. While pondering who it could be,
Hey, give me back my twins.
hearing this, I finally realized that the woman was Nancy. She had aged and changed so much over these 15 years that I genuinely didn't recognize her. This is too much for me to handle alone, I murmured to myself and contacted some people. They arrived within minutes and surrounded her.
What are you doing here now?
John was the first to shout. He was glaring at Nancy with anger.
What do you mean, what? I came to take back my daughters.
Intimidated by John's intensity and the crowd, Nancy still shouted defiantly.
They are my children, so give them back to me.
Her outcry had a reason. She must have seen them on TV. In fact, the twins have become quite sought after on TV. Maria as a popular singer, and Millie as a talented actress. These two are set to co-star soon and were recently featured as beautiful twins. Nancy likely showed up after seeing this. What about that rich doctor? I asked Nancy. She contorted her face in ugliness.
I dumped that guy long ago.
While shouting, she began to explain the situation, even though no one had asked. The man she brought that day was not a doctor but a con artist. Actually, it was his brother who was the real doctor.
That man was after Michael's wealth.
The man approached Nancy for the money of Michael, who runs a large factory. After Michael's death, Nancy, who received the inheritance, and her boyfriend, who had amassed money by deceiving many women, lived extravagantly for a while, but eventually his actions came to light, and he was arrested. In addition, the boyfriend was caught using his brother's name, and his brother got angry and disowned him. Nancy, having abandoned her destitute boyfriend, shamelessly returned to our home.
They were my daughters from the start, so I will take them back.
That's out of the question.
That's right. We won't let you touch our beloved girls.
John exclaimed, and everyone from the factory echoed in agreement. Indeed, the twins were precious children raised by all of us at the factory. We had no intention of handing them over to such a woman. Everyone, I have something to say. I spoke on the day Nancy abandoned the twins. I was prepared to raise them, but considering my age, I asked for support from everyone at the factory.
What a woman.
Truly terrible. Susan, leave it to us. We will raise the twins together with everyone at the factory.
Thus, we united to raise the twins, taking turns to care for them, playing and going out together. With everyone's help, the initially withdrawn twins gradually opened up.
You know, we have dreams we want to achieve. We promised Dad too. We'll definitely make them come true.
Eventually, they began to talk about their dreams. Their dream was to become an idol singer and an actress. Hearing this, we all watched TV together to learn, joined them in singing lessons and acting practice, and supported them wholeheartedly. I'm grateful to her for leaving the twins with us. Because of that, they were able to achieve their dreams. Had they stayed with Nancy, they might never have realized their dreams, or even grown up healthy.
And now you show up demanding them back. Who do you think you are?
Be quiet. I am their mother. Those twins have an obligation to support me.
At these words, everyone present showed anger. Which mouth dares to call itself mother? It was at that moment.
Whose mother? We don't have an ugly mother like you.
It was then that a voice was heard. When everyone turned to look, they saw the twins with expressions of disgust.
Maria, Millie, it's been a while, my girls. You've both grown up to be so beautiful.
Nancy approached the twins with a broad smile, but the twins responded with increasingly displeased expressions.
And who's my mother? You treated us like nuisances and locked us out in the cold, didn't you?
And you abandoned us as soon as Daddy was gone, didn't you?
The twins asked in a cold voice. Though they were young at the time, it seemed they clearly remembered their mother's actions.
Well, there were circumstances.
Faced with their words, Nancy was at a loss for words.
We remember everything clearly. How you neglected us.
You betrayed Daddy, and you were the reason Daddy is no longer here.
At these words, Nancy's eyes widened. Michael had long been aware of her infidelity. And on that day, Michael ambushed Nancy and her partner during their affair trip at the tourist site and confronted her. Nancy made excuses even then.
I'll divorce you and take a hefty alimony.
Disgusted with her, Michael attempted to leave. However, panicked by the mention of alimony, the two tried to stop him by grabbing his arm. Michael shook them off, lost his balance, and stumbled into the roadway, where he was tragically hit by a truck.
How did you know?
Nancy, trembling, muttered upon hearing the truth about what happened 15 years ago from the twins.
I was the one who investigated it.
It was John who responded to her. He had desperately searched for evidence to avenge his brother. He managed to find a witness and uncovered the truth through sheer persistence. Normally, this information should have been reported to the police. But by then, the investigation had already been concluded, and without concrete evidence, there was only the witness's testimony. We had no intention of involving ourselves with Nancy anymore and chose to remain silent.
We will never forgive you, and we certainly don't want to support you.
If you still insist on taking us back, then pay all the back child support you owe.
Nancy appeared flustered by these words. We felt joy seeing how much the twins had grown.
What will you do?
Or should we call the police to take you away?
At the twins' pressure, Nancy exclaimed, "You must be joking," and fled. The factory workers applauded the twins' courage and maturity. You've grown up so much.
Oh well.
We'll make sure to repay all the kindness we've received.
At this, John's face looked like he was about to cry. He had protected and raised the twins like their father, stepping in for Michael. That's why he was probably as moved as I was.
Oh, number John.
Don't cry, it's embarrassing.
I'm not crying yet.
At John's response, laughter erupted once more. It was a warm and happy scene. Watching them, I too couldn't help but smile broadly. A few days after these events unfolded.
By the way, that woman who was lamenting about being our mother was apparently arrested.
I heard too. She tried to approach us again, and the police found her location.
Oh dear. Listening to the twins talk about Nancy. Afterwards, it was revealed that she was an accomplice of her boyfriend, and she was apparently arrested by the police. While she had made it seem as if only her boyfriend was the fraudster, Nancy was also involved. She was engaged in a scheme similar to a honey trap, and the police were after her.
Thanks to everyone at the factory acting that day. There were many witnesses.
It was easy for the police to find her.
The incident was reported by someone who witnessed the events of that day, leading to a detailed investigation and resulting in Nancy being sent to prison. She won't be out for a long time. That's good. With the police handling it, we can focus on the shooting.
That's right.
Definitely watch us, Grandma.
What's more, she could do this. She might claim to be the mother of the beautiful twins once she's released. However, that will only backfire on her. Of course, I'll watch. It's your crowning achievement. The project they were filming was about their life story. Losing their father at 5, abandoned by their mother, and raised by the factory workers where their grandmother worked. Their journey from that adversity to success would be depicted. Thus, the more Nancy claimed to be their mother, the more she would be despised by those around her. She brought it upon herself. Let her thoroughly experience the hell she's created.
That's right. And with the broadcast, the factory will gain even more popularity.
We'll need John to work harder.
Currently, John, who took over after Michael, is managing the factory.
I will protect everything.
He said this and continues to protect us even now. We decided to express our gratitude to him together, smiling at the FOD. The drama, once aired, became a massive hit. People sympathized with that Wynn's situation and loathed the mother's character.
Some zealous fans dug up information on Nancy, even discovering she's in prison.
Oh dear, hell awaits her upon release. No one will be there for her. Her infamous boyfriend is serving a long sentence for multiple frauds and is unlikely to welcome her back. Regarding her family, it turns out that after the incident 15 years ago, they were investigated and confronted. Nancy's parents had disowned her long before, and they were completely unaware of her current situation.
She was disowned for being too wicked and causing trouble for the family. If only she had learned her lesson back then.
Indeed. Therefore, no relatives would be there to receive her. She will likely spend her future alone, continually regretting her actions.
I feel like we've finally gotten revenge.
John remarked, a weight lifted off his shoulders. He had acted thoughtfully for us, fiercely guarding the factory. That's why the twins have come to adore John as their father. Thank you for everything. At my words, John gave a shy smile.
I have something to discuss with you, Susan.
What's up?
I'm thinking of leaving the factory.
I wasn't particularly surprised by his words. I was concerned about it, especially since I heard he was handing over various responsibilities to younger employees.
The twins have achieved their dreams, and I've left the factory in reliable hands. Now it's time for me to pursue my own dream.
If that's your decision, I won't object. Thank you for everything, I said with a smile, prompting a happy grin from John.
Then first, would you go on a trip with me?
Really?
I've always dreamed of going on a trip with my family.
John asked with a childlike smile. I stared at his smiling face for a few seconds, then nodded with a smile of my own. If it's with family, we have to invite the twins too.
Yes, we need to choose a place where everyone can relax.
After a while, the four of us went on a trip. During the trip, that Wins and I gave John a surprise gift, and when he finally broke down in tears, we all burst into laughter. It's been 15 years since you've been gone, I wonder if you and your dad are getting along well there. I mused at the graves of my husband and Michael. The time when I will join the two of them may not be far off, or it could still be a long way away. The children have grown up and achieved their dreams. Following that drama, Maria became an even more popular idol. She is scheduled to go on a nationwide tour soon. Millie received an offer to act in an international movie and had traveled abroad. Michael, John has avenged you properly. After leaving the factory, John has been enjoying his passion for travel. Everyone has achieved their dreams. So, don't worry, just wait for me to join you there, whenever that time comes. Saying this, I stood up. I wonder what I should do next. I decided to live life to the fullest until my days come to an end. I believe that will be my way of repaying the kindness I've received. Right, today is the day Millie is supposed to call me. I better get back and prepare, I murmured, starting to walk back.
Hi, Grandma.
Maria, aren't you in the middle of your national tour?
I was nearby and wanted to see you, and I want to join the video call with Millie.
Maria said this with a lovely smile. I'm sure Millie would have the same smile. With their smiling faces as my support, I will keep on living my life today.